Two, one, go.
Good morning. Good morning, and welcome to the Daily Huddle. It's good to see some faces, and for those of you that are watching us live on YouTube, welcome as well. We are excited to be here for a Money Monday, as we are still in the early parts of 2024 to get everybody focused and moving in the right direction. And we've got some exciting things to talk to you guys about today, and we have a very special guest of mine and Kimberly's that means a lot to us, and I'm glad that he's here this morning. But before we get started, we're going to talk a little bit about side hustles. And I saw this the other day, so I thought I'd share it with you guys. So I was a little surprised when Peter Parker decided to be a photographer as his side hustle. He seemed like a shoe-in for web development.
He loves
It's
that.
terrible, man.
Terrible. That's the idea, right? Terrible.
Oh God, his jokes are horrible.
He's better than I am, Gail.
I love it. I love it.
Well, good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us. I think we've already said, but I am Kimberly, and this is Zach, and we're your hosts today on Money Mondays. And we have a super special guest and a special question. But before we get started with that, then Zach has some questions of his own.
Yeah, so like we talk about when we get our minds right on the Daily Huddle every day, the first thing we got to remember is the time is now, right now. And secondly, where are you? You're in exactly the right spot. You're right where you're supposed to be, ready to take on your life, ready to take on the day. And then how are you? Remember, when you ask yourself that question, you are exactly how you say you are. So get your mind right, know you're in the right spot, and just clear the mechanism for the next 30 minutes, and let's get your day kicked off right.
So I want to talk to you guys today. Our question is, in a world full of part-time opportunities, why choose the money business? Obviously, we have one of our really dear friends and mentors and business partner, Jody Humphrey, with us. But before we officially introduce him, I need to give him a proper bio and a proper introduction so you guys know who he is and his background. So Jody Humphrey is a CEO MD for Hegemon Group International, a Georgia native. Jody attended Brigham Young University, where he studied business. Jody's had a front row seat to the greatest marketing movement in the history of financial services. He has developed a unique leadership style by studying and emulating the great leaders he has had the opportunity to work with, both personally and professionally. Chief among his mentors is his father, Hubert Humphrey, an industry icon. Jody followed in Hubert's footsteps by working in the marketing and team building side of financial services distribution. Over his 20 plus year career, Jody has built his own legacy of success by building and developing over 400 plus $100,000 earners. He's earned numerous industry awards, including the prestigious Leader of the Year award. And some of his personal and professional awards and affiliations include he served a mission for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. He's a member of the Who's Who of America. He's a voting member of the Country Music Association. He's recognized by Congress as an angel of adoption for work in adoption development. And he was an Eagle Scout in the Boy Scouts of America organization. So with all those amazing accolades, let me introduce to you our friend, mentor, business partner, Jody Humphrey. Jody, thanks for joining us today.
Well, hey, thanks for having me, guys. I'm so excited to be here. I'm a big fan of this organization, big fan of Geo's, and honored to be here. And obviously, you guys are, as a couple, a wonderful part of my world and in my life. And so I'm excited to be here. And that bio scares me to death, but we had to put that together for a couple of official publications along the way. So I guess you got to do those along the way. But
Make sure professional.
yeah. Yeah, it's right. Feel they gotta deliver.
For sure.
Absolutely.
So I know your story, and we shared some of it with your bio there. But when we talk now, and you and I talk about this all the time, and we teach people these kind of concepts through HGI. But we know that, and you probably have more statistics off the top of your head, but we know there's a large majority of our population that is doing something in addition to. They're doing something. They have a full-time job here, but it's not enough, whether it's inflation that's making it difficult or whether their life changes or whatever. But we know there's a large percentage of the population that's looking to do something else, looking to make some extra money. What have you seen? I know you spent a lot of time with organizations outside the financial services business as well, teaching them how to grow distribution. But what have you seen that really differentiates the financial services world from other opportunities that you might choose to do part-time?
Well, first of all, these are very unique times. They're very exciting times, and anytime there's a major challenges, that creates the biggest opportunity. And what I think is so interesting is that first of all, the theme that I want to get across is urgency. I can't even believe that January is halfway gone. We sit in 2024, and we thought the world was going to end at Y2K, and then 2020 was going to be something magical. And, and here we sit. This month's going to be flying by. So what are we going to do? And so there needs to be a strong focus. This is a great way to start the week with that focus. But there are some very unique things happening right now. There's always been the hustlers. There's always been those people that were entrepreneur driven by nature. And there's also been those people that were they were aggressive, so they did something on the side. But the world's changed right now. Necessity, which we always talk about, necessity is the mother of invention. Necessity has made it to where most everyone is now looking for something else, another way. People that were making six figures and thought they were settled and never thought they'd have to go make more money, all of a sudden that's not enough. And so they've got to go make enough. We talk about 300,000 is the new six figures. That's kind of a real vogue saying right now, but it's true. If you're trying to live in any metropolitan area and have a good life and have any nice things and any hope for a future, you got to have $300,000 a year coming into your house. And for most people, that's not happening unless something changes. And I do want to make another point, and that is that whatever you do, whether you call it a side hustle or you call it something on the side, you've got to have it, even if it's part-time, you got to have a full-time mentality. I really see a lot of people poking at things and just trying things, and it's not going to happen. I mean, unless you come in with the right attitude. And I think the main thing people need to work on is if they will get themselves right and find the right vehicle, good things will happen. I know there's a lot of wonderful people that get on calls like this on a Monday morning voluntarily just to be here to get that energy. There's people who pay what they think are mentors. They pay coaches to go help them, and they're out looking for the silver bullet when in fact they're in the wrong industries and they don't have the horse to take them to success. And so they go spend thousands of dollars going to seminars. But my question is, now what industry are you going to go into? So that kind of sets us up for what we're talking about. But people, they have to do something different. They're looking right now. So the question is, like you said, where do they go?
I think that's a really great point that you made about even if you do something part-time, whatever that is, it has to be a full-time mentality. I think that in our career, that's probably one of the biggest downfalls that I've seen people make when they choose to start something part-time or want to transition into financial services or anything as a career, is that they don't give it the same time and effort and energy as they do their traditional everyday 40-hour-a-week job. What are some ways that people can get over that hurdle? Like, what are some pointers that you've seen throughout your career that help them change that mindset? Because I know it's all working on themselves, right? It's all working on themselves, and the better they are, the better they're going to be. But how do they start when they're transitioning from employee to entrepreneur and nobody's telling them what they have to do every single day, right? What do you think is, what are some good tools for them?
Well, I think the first thing it comes back to is in your life, you got to do the things that attract success and not repel it. For example, if you're working on self-development, that's attractive. If you're trying to get better, that's attractive. If you're trying to improve in any way, that's attractive. If you have a clear message, That's an attractive thing. So you got to work on you. It's funny that the things that it takes to be successful are boring. They're really honestly, they're not what people want to hear. A lot of times people are sitting right now going, "Oh my God, this guy's going to say something intelligent." I'm going to tell you something that's the same thing that anyone that would be successful would do. And number one is that you got to
Oh, we lost you for a second.
go out.
I got you. You're back.
Am I still here?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. The first thing you got to do, and this was taught to me by the person that was my mentor at the time when I found success. The number one thing he taught us was that if you have to have a clear, concise mental picture, you got to go back, do the things that Think and Grow Rich taught us, which was to have a written statement that you read aloud every morning and every night that's got a clear plan of what you're trying to do. And I know that sounds so mundane, that I will challenge you. I'll guarantee you success if you go do that. So get yourself focused. The other thing is, this is very important. You have to give yourself, your efforts, enough time to compound. Most people, you've heard the story, they'll fall 3 feet short of diamonds. They'll go out and they'll try something. And I'm telling you right now, if you're just going to run out, try anything, whether it's financial services, whether it's real estate, whether it's being an Amazon redistributor, I don't care what you try. If you just run out and try it for 30, 60, 90 days and say, well, I'm just going to see if this thing works, and then give up, well, you can save yourself time and effort. It's not going to work. You have to give yourself a chance to have your efforts compound. I believe in a 2-year mark. I really do. I think if you go into a business, you've got to give yourself, short of it just being a disaster, you got to give yourself a 2-year mark to be able to see those results, and then break it down in 90-day cycles. We call them 90-day madman cycles, because anybody can do anything for 90 days, and you can start to see some kind of result in 90 days. So to me, those are things, that's the mentality that you have to have. And you need to go find a business that has a system. You have to find a business that has mentors who are currently successful and have been successful at what you're doing, and just get right in. Don't reinvent the system. Go do what works, and you'll be successful.
Yeah, and I mean, I'll take a couple of seconds here as we go back and forth to shamelessly plug what we do. And I take no bones about it, but one of the biggest obstacles to going into anything is going to be overhead, is going to be, what do you have to invest on the front end? And I think that's one of the things that I love about our industry, and HGI in particular, is that an upfront investment is very minimal to get that license, to get you ready to go out and start making money. And then secondly, the dollars per ticket, as we used to say in the Radio Shack days when I worked at Radio Shack, it's insane. If I go out and I'm selling an outstanding skincare product, right? Well, I've got to sell how many of those to make a decent living, or I've got to have, if I'm building an organization, I've got to hire so many people to do that. But in the financial services world, whether I'm building an organization or not, I can go out immediately day one, as long as I've got the right mentors and the right system, and I can make money. Sustainable, sizable money. And that's actually one of the double-edged swords we have, right? People make too much money too fast.
Yeah, we've got all kinds of people in the business that are making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. We even got people that are making $1 million a year just by themselves. A couple of points along where you're headed with that, talking about, why the money business, and then specifically why the HGI, and I'll address both those things very, very clearly. Okay. I will tell you very clearly and very boldly that whatever else you're doing, you should add this as part of what you're doing. That does not diminish anything that you do. It just means this should be part of your repertoire. I do think it's that big. It's a very unique moment. We have one of those perfect unicorn situations. First of all, everyone in this country is in desperate searching for financial literacy. They're wanting to know how money works more than ever before. They're talking about it in their homes. They're talking about it in their churches. I've gone to 5 church services, 3 with my wife, where they from the pulpit were telling people to get their financial house in order. And I'm like, well, passing out cards. I didn't want to look like an idiot, but they're up there. So the world knows. You read all the statistics, people who thought insurance was boring or that weren't ready for retirement or didn't think they needed an emergency fund. Those guys are now, they're all looking for that opportunity. So you have America, whether it's you got Gen Z, whether you got the millennials, whether you got Gen X, whether you got the baby boomers, whether you got the senior market, every one of those people are waking up today on a Monday thinking, oh man, how can I get rid of this? Whatever my financial pressure is, and I can tell you what it is. If you're on the front end, you're trying to get started. If you're a millennial, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm getting saddled with student debt like never before. If I'm a Gen Xer, inflation is like a boa constrictor around them, and they can't figure out why they feel broke because they went to school and they're making $100,000 a year. Then you got the baby boomers, and we're sitting there going, what happened? We made more money than anyone else in the history of the world, and on our watch as baby boomers. We have moved to almost a third world status when it comes to saving money and retirement planning and debt. And then the seniors are like, well, they're the greatest generation, but why is it they're just trying to run out of money? They're trying to not run out of money before they run out of their life. So that is the mother of all markets that has created this incredible moment. Now, simultaneously to the greatest market ever, the distribution for that marketplace is just eroded. The average person is somebody who markets financial products is over 60 years old. To be candid with you, they're stale and pale. They're 60 and white, which is not what the world looks like. I promise you. If you walked into one of our meetings, you would not find a bunch of 60-year-old white guys because that's just not what the world looks like anymore. We want all them, but we want everybody else also. Real estate, for example, is a wonderful industry, but not everyone, but a lot of people have made a decision to jump into that pool. Last year in Georgia, there were more people who became realtors than there were houses to sell. So you've got that dynamic in the real estate world with the clouds hanging over that industry. Doesn't mean real estate's bad.
Yeah.
We'll probably add real estate, to be honest with you. So we're not against real estate. I'm just telling you on the financial services side, it is smooth sailing. It is wide open. People are desperately looking for that information. Now, the top 1%, if you've got $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 sitting around, which is very few people, and I mean, very, very, very few people, then Merrill Lynch will probably find you. They'll come see you. Those guys and other great companies like that will come see you. But if you're everyone else, they're not coming. Matter of fact, very few people ever get a call from Merrill Lynch in their lifetime. And so we take all those products that have historically been set aside for the wealthy and take them to everyone. And so what an incredible time to be in this business. And I'll tell you something else. Sometimes you'll have a product, and I want to mention this. A lot of times people don't join businesses because they're like, oh, I don't want to bother my friends. I don't want to go bother my family. I don't want to peddle and all. And so first of all, that's not what we do. We're not out just saying go see friends and family, and that's how the only way we're going to build a business. However, I can't think of this to you. You all have to sign a waiver that you didn't go see your friends and family with this information, to be honest with you. If you have people around you that you care about, they desperately need this information. And odds are if they don't hear it from us, they're not going to hear it from anybody. So there's that amazing opportunity there. And so we've got a multi-faceted opportunity to where you can go build this business by yourself, like Zach said, which, by the way, that's a litmus test of whether something's a business or a hobby. Can you do it by yourself? The second thing is that you can go build a business through having a referral network within your own market. But we also have a technology play to where we have people that have built $1 million incomes with us just off TikTok, just off social media. So we're all
I was going
about
to say that earlier when you said where are people getting their financial education, right? With churches and everything else, and TikTok.
Yeah.
If you just scroll through TikTok,
they're scrolling through and they
much.
get bits and pieces. The thing is, and this is a real important piece on this, okay? Because and I'll be brief on this, but anyone listening to this would say, okay, what makes you different? What makes us different? Okay. Number one is leadership. If you're going to start in a business, to me, if you have a chance to go kneecap to kneecap with Bill Gates or with Warren Buffett or with Elon Musk or on and on and on and on, whoever is the mentor in your world, there are some people that you guys are fans of that, whether it's Gary Vee or whether it's Grant Cardone or all those people that are right now the big mentors, Tony Robbins, nothing wrong with those guys, but unless you pay them $15,000, you're not going to have a conversation with them. That'll only get you a very brief conversation with them. Here, our leadership team is my father, who is the architect of distribution in financial services for the last 40 years. Built Primerica from scratch, built World Financial Group from scratch, and now built this company that we're part of now up to about $1 billion operation. So we know what we're doing. And the point being is you have an opportunity to be mentored by him and his partner, Steve Gross, who helped build Home Depot and WebMD and many others. So we have the mentoring side. But here's something that's real important. As a financial operation, we're the only company that we don't come in already trying to decide what it is you need. We figure out what the client needs, and we have every product from every insurance product you can name. We have real estate options for people who love real estate for retirement. We have stock market, professional active money management, which is the right up Zach and Kimberly's, lane. They love that. Okay. And then finally, wills and trusts, which is, estate planning and other things, health insurance and all. But we have all those under one roof so that when I'm sitting down with whoever, if I'm sitting down with Nelson, then I'm able to sit down and say, here, look at this, let's see what you need. Let's educate you from where you're at. And then go bring these world-class concepts backed by companies like North American, Nationwide, AIG, Corbridge, North American, on and on and on, incredible companies to those people. So to me, that's very unique. And then you got to have a technology play. And then one other piece that I think is an exclamation point of 20 exclamation points is that when you look at somebody's compensation, you got to figure out, can I make money now? Because honestly, listen, I get it. There are people that are going to be on this podcast that are hoping that their electricity doesn't go out during this call. And I am not even being funny. I get it. I know that there are people under immediate issues. Okay. So you have to be able to make money now. Okay. The other thing is you have to be able to make a residual income. That's something what are you building? I'm asking you guys, what are you building for yourself? I know this. I know there are people that I know of that have tried 4 or 5 different businesses over the last 6 or 7 years while we've been out and built almost $1 billion company. And that's just how it is. Okay. And so can you build residual as good as real estate is, as good as some of those other businesses are? Their gaping problem is that they don't have a residual play. But finally, and the last piece on this is that if you're doing something that is not giving you an opportunity for true equity, giving you an opportunity to be able to go out and create a scenario where people talk about this all the time, and we're great talkers. There's as many people on here who can talk as good as I can all day long, some better probably, but this isn't the talking Olympics anymore. It's doing. And so you have, like, a lot of people are like, I want to have generational wealth. Well, they'll say that and they're overdrawn at the bank and they have no plan on creating generational wealth. To be honest with you, they're part of generational debt, but they want generational wealth. So how do you do that? You have to be in an equity moment. And we're part of a company called the Integrity Marketing Group. That is a story that I promise you, that may be the first time you've ever heard of them, but you will hear them everywhere over the next 5 to 10 years. They're a $20 billion company that you've never heard of. They're bigger than American Airlines and many other companies. They're bigger than Primerica, WFG, and any other financial services company you could name combined, and you've never heard of them. But we're part of them. And everything that we do, in addition to having compensation, selling wonderful financial products, we have an equity play to where we have an opportunity. Right now, it's an opportunity through our bonuses to be able to get stock pre-IPO in an amazing company. And to me, that should set off all the business alarms in your head to get back with somebody, just ask, wait, what in the world is he talking about? Because that's why we're running around like with our hair on fire 24/7, because I've never had that opportunity. And many people, their pride gets in the way. It's okay to go add things and listen to others. I know one of my strengths is I know what I don't know. I'm really, really good at some things. I am blind spot on other things. And I kind of know my blind spots and avoid them. And to be honest, that's why myself and Zach and Kimberly work so well, is that we pretty much seamlessly do this. But when you pull us apart, there's not quite that strength, because our strengths just come together just like that. And so that's what you have to do. So the money industry is wonderful, but do something for equity for yourself. I mean, do that for yourself.
Well, of course, we love this business. We love HGI. We love you and your dad, and are appreciative of your leadership and just everything that we've had the opportunity to be a part of for the last 10 years. We have just a couple of minutes left, but I want to open it up to questions. Does anybody have any questions that they want to ask Jody now? Gio, I see your hand raised. So if you want to go ahead, and then we can kind of go through this. And if we run a little long, maybe you guys will stay on with us, but go ahead, Gio.
Yeah, so great to be here. And this what a wonderful morning. Thank you, Jody, for being here. I wanted to take this opportunity, Jody, to ask you kind of this different angle. One of the things that I find fascinating about you and about your father and your history is this global mindset. It's not only about you or what you can create for yourself and your family. It's this mindset of rocking the boat for the entire world about in the industry that you're in. And could you say a little bit of that kind of mindset, that it's so large that it sort of allows for so much chaos while there is so much organization? How do you expand your mind to take on the world like that?
Gio, it's a great question. Two things. One thought I had as you were talking was that, if something is right and it's principle based, it works every time. Right's right. That's the great thing about a principle. Honesty, things like that. They're strong. This works. When you and I first met, Jill, this idea was a hope, and we hoped it would work like the companies before and all, and now it's bigger than what we had before, and that's not because I can articulate things so well, or that Zach and Kimberly are as good as they are. It's because the system works. It's because it's duplicatable, and that's very important. If something shows that it can work over and over and over, then that's something you got to listen to. That's what Elon Musk brings to the table when he keeps building company after company, and seems to be there. And he's very much a boat rocker, which gets right back into what Jill was asking. We do literally find something and pull the plug on the hand grenade, roll it into the room, and that is what we do. And that's very exciting to see, because what happens is something I'm proud of, because I'm proud of the fact, when we began our legacy, all the way back to when Art Williams literally went into financial services in late 1970s and said, hey, an industry that's one of the biggest industries in the world is wrong, and just turn it upside down. By doing that, it has changed everything, because many times the status quo needs to be turned upside down. And by the way, in most distribution, it changes that fast, because Sears was fat, dumb, and happy. You cannot, unless you're a little older in America, you cannot understand the stranglehold that Sears had on an industry. And so Sears was, if any company built a big building, they wanted Sears to be in that building. The biggest building in the world was the Sears Tower. If any mall, the number one tenant in the world that they wanted was Sears, because their credit was perfect. They got all kinds of advantages at the bank. They had the world by the tail until they didn't pay attention, until something needed to be done. And along came Sam Walton, just cheering on everybody, doing things that other people were embarrassed about, driving his old truck and all that, coming in, and he turned everything on his head. And he never expected Walmart to do what it did. And of course, Walmart pulled a Walmart on Sears. And then Amazon pulled an Amazon on Walmart. And so that is what we do, is that what happens is somebody has to be the visionary. And I am very proud of my dad. Honestly, he's an 80-year-old guy who outworks all of us he's already done more this morning than the rest of us. He's crazy because he loves this stuff. He loves distribution. He loves changing people's lives, and he loves changing industries. And when you combine the ultimate people development with the ultimate industry, that creates generational changes. Integrity Marketing Group's a phenomenal company. They bought almost 200 companies over the last few years. You can go to their website; it'll blow your mind. But out of those 200 companies, about 35 of them were directly from companies that we started. This gets back to what Gio said: is I love that we shook so many trees that it changed the entire industry, not just our company. I can name you other companies that many of you know of, but they all came from things that we did. And I love that, and it's funny because most people don't know that, that Chick-fil-A came from Waffle House. Waffle House built in Atlanta, and then Chick-fil-A was started. It wasn't called Chick-fil-A, but they had the chicken sandwiches. They sold them at Waffle House. Waffle House wouldn't do it anymore because they were taken over, and then they started. So you do something great, and it has all these unintended consequences. So that is a great question because it has a global effect. So you're talking about lives change. I have people come in all the time to our office. They're like, "Oh, let me tell you what I learned here." And then also what happens, Gio, is that when they learn all these principles, they may not be successful here, but they'll take the things they learn and go somewhere else and be successful. I love that. I love people that take the skills and, I've had people that were part of our team that I thought failed in the business. I have one guy, James Hahn, who joined our team in 1995 in World Financial Group. Real handsome, strong guy from the health club industry, but then he kind of disappeared. And I thought he washed out of the business. Turns out I just met him a year ago, and now he runs on the inside. He's not a sales guy, but he went on the inside. Now he's one of the top executives in the world for a company called Nexus, which might be the hottest thing going in financial services. I'm like, well, wow. He goes, oh yeah, I took all the things I learned, and here I now running the industry. And that just blows my mind.
Well, yeah, we talk a lot about industry disruption, and I know that we're out of time, guys, and we have one more question. I don't know the name because I just see your phone, the Samsung there, but introduce yourself and feel free to ask your question.
Good morning. This is CC.
Hey, CC.
Hey, I had a question. Is this group similar to multi-level marketing?
That's a great question. What we've done is directly the answer to that's no, but that's a dishonest answer because we obviously would love to recruit. So to give you what we've done is that we took a mix to where you could go take the very best of traditional financial services or traditional sales. We combined that with some great principles from networking, which you know of is network marketing. Combined that with franchising. And we put together a very unique proposition. So if somebody wants to recruit here, they can, but the great part about it is here you don't have to. You can go in and make the same amount of money, or not the same amount of money, but you can make money just on your own. But you can, yes, go build a brokerage, which could be looked at kind of as a multi-level deal. But it's more along the lines of a very aggressive Keller Williams type situation. So we allow you to recruit, but you don't have to recruit kind of situation. It's a great question.
Yep.
I think I always like to liken that to building either a sales business, right? Being a salesperson or building a business with distribution and having the ability to do one or both here is part of the magic of HGI, I think, really allows you to diversify yourself and
And also, I want to say one thing is that I personally am a monster fan of the network marketing world because I think it gave many, many wonderful people the opportunity to go learn how to become entrepreneurs that had they not done, they would not have done things later on. Had my dad not tried Amway 4 times in 7 years and never really had the success that he wanted, but he learned, he will give credit. All the things he learned about the American economy and free enterprise and all that. So, the only problem is that from a true business proposition, when you're looking at something, you go, well, what am I going to do to make money? Well, what most people know of is network marketing. you got to go recruit thousands of people, and candidly, most people aren't going to do that. And a lot of those companies, unfortunately, hadn't made it. I can show you a little thing I have from 15 years ago where many people were trying Organo Gold, or they were out trying Advocare, or they were out doing Nerium, or they were out doing Visalis. Those are four white hot companies. What do they all have in common? They don't exist now.
Yep.
So you got to pick the right industry too, you know, and the money industry is not going anywhere.
Yeah. Well, Jody,
Great exclamation point.
thank you so much for your time and for being
Thank
on
you,
here
guys.
with us this morning. I hope you guys, Kimberly put it in the chat, how to get in touch with us if you need to do that. If you have questions for us or for Jody about any of the things that we talked about today. But as we go out, like we like to remind everybody, remember our 8 tenets as you go out into your day today, right? Love, laugh out loud, stress less, take care of your body, eat foods that you should eat, not the ones you shouldn't. Give your time, give money, just give. It feels good. Sleep, get that sleep. Not right now. Let's go out and get something done. Move, get your body moving. And finally, take a pause. That moment between stimulus and response is the one time you can't get back. So check yourself before you go out and do something crazy. So, all right, guys, thank you very much. Hope it was as good for you as it was for me. Jody, thanks again. We will see you guys same time, same place, Daily Huddle tomorrow.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, guys.